Hello everyone, just let you know I'm back. Um, uh, Now obviously some of you have been asking my mum and other people, you've seen a few posts about from my mother. You're probably wondering where I've been, how comes I've been off the grid for a couple of months. So I'm going to do this video just to let you know. It's going to kind of be a slight bit of an expose almost of the experience that I've had. And if you could, at the end of this, just share it, because if I can shed a little bit of light to you guys on what's happened to me, it might prevent it happening to other people as well. So I'm gonna tell you basically my story. I'm gonna tell you a few other stories, and then I'm gonna tell you some of the facts and some of the craziness that's going on down in Key West, in Monroe County, which is the most south point of Florida. On the 15th of September this year, me and my friend had been travelling around the world for 4 months. We've been South America, Cuba, Canada. We found ourselves in Miami. We went for a day trip down to Key West. We had a little bit of a snorkeling tour. We had a great time. There was a bit of an open bar. I had a few drinks. You know, it's what Key West is known for, to go out and enjoy yourself and party and whatever. We on returning back to Miami on a tour bus, while it was parked in Key West, we had a little bit of an altercation on the bus, a little bit of an argument, something over nothing, as it normally is. You know, a few exchanges were given, a little bit of pushing, a little bit of shoving, but it lasted all of about a minute. Nothing really major. Unfortunately, though, the police were called for some strange reason, not really clear why. I was left on the bus. Joseph was off the bus, and the police arrived. They asked me to come off the bus, which I did. On sight of seeing a little bit of blood on my hands, first of all, there was no question of what exactly had gone on from the police. They didn't really seem to care, almost as if they had it in their minds already to arrest us, regardless of what they'd heard on a bus. Had heard from the phone call that they had. And in sight, on seeing the blood, they pulled my shirt, pulled me back, and then pushed me to the ground, causing my head to split open. On sight of this, my friend Joseph then ran over and tried to kind of calm the situation down and stop the situation, and we both then just were kind of baffled at what exactly was going on. We were just questioning, why are you pushing me and why are you shoving me? I haven't done anything wrong. I might have had an argument on the bus, but you know it happens. They then demanded us to turn around and so that they could cuff us, and we was kind of confused at why. So we questioned them. Because we questioned them, Joseph was then dragged away, and I was trying to help him, and the two officers then displayed guns. At this point, as UK citizens who have never seen guns, never experienced guns, especially through the police, we kind of freaked out. I was pleading for my life. It was pretty scary. What I didn't realise was, though, they weren't guns, they were actually taser guns. And through my refusal or my questioning, I was then tasered. I was tasered to the ground, and there's now a scar just at the top here on my arm. At this point, my friend Joseph completely and utterly freaked out. He thought I was being killed. He was trying to break free and get to me. Now, while I was being tasered, apparently the officer was telling me to stay down. But when you've got electric running through your body, you can't even feel or see anything. And I got up off the floor, and she took this as a sign of aggression, and therefore I was then tasered a second time. I was tasered, and then because I was crying, I was then tasered a third time, and that's a scar there. I'd been tasered 3 times. My friend Joseph was then manhandled, thrown into the back of a car. His head was covered in a plastic bag. It was horrific. Then 3 other policemen turned up. They were demanding for me to get up, at which point my mind was everywhere. I was crying. There was people watching me, filming it. I was emasculated. I was mortified. I've never ever experienced anything like this. Because I was so upset and I couldn't get up, I was then forced off the ground, at which point the officer then was slowly breaking my arm up my back. I was screaming, crying. It was horrific. I've never experienced such police brutality, such force from the police in my entire life. Through my retaliation and my worry and fret for my life, I was then put into jail for 2 months. And that's where I've been, in jail. I was charged with battery on a law enforcement officer, resisting arrest with violence because I was trying to get them off me while they were trying to break my arm, and disorderly conduct. It's been absolutely horrific. That day on its own was horrific. What happened to me in jail, I don't want to go down that route. It's been a horrendous situation in the actual jail experience. But that's not why I'm doing this. I'm not doing this as a poor me situation. I'm doing this as just to try to expose what's happened to me in terms of the police brutality. What happened to me in jail is for another story. That was... While we was in jail, we heard of a few other stories of what's happening to people in that area. People are getting 30 days for dropping a cigarette butt on the floor. They're getting 30 days for having an open can of beer in the street. They're getting 30 days for just about anything. There was a guy that was in my friend Joseph's cell, a 18-year-old Japanese tourist. He took a photograph of a naval ship and was given 30 days for trespassing. There was also stories of people with... someone walked across the street and saw an endangered sea turtle, picked it up and took it to the sea turtle hospital that they have in Key West, and the woman said, unfortunately, it's illegal to touch them, I'm going to have to call the police. And he got 30 days in jail and a year probation. So we're thinking, we're starting to wonder, how is this right? How is this even possible? Like, how can you treat people like this? How can you put people in jail for such ridiculous things? And then it started to become slightly clear at why. Key West is basically a mousetrap. So the government pays Key West, Monroe County, $300 a night to incarcerate people per person. So the judges, the courts, the police officers, the correction officers in the jails, the bondsmen, the public defenders, they're all connected. They all work with each other to basically get you put in jail. For example, the police officers will aggravate you and they will treat you so poorly, like they did us, that you're almost breaking laws that you don't even know that you're breaking. And some are not even laws, it's basically anything that they say goes, really. For example, you can literally say, because I said no, or because I questioned why are you wanting to arrest me, that is classed as resisting arrest, which is punishable of 5 years imprisonment. And you don't even know you're doing it because you're confused at what's going on because they're so aggressive and they're so violent and they're so vile to people. So the courts, for example, when you get arrested, in the UK especially, you get one court date and that's it. You go to your court date and you get sentenced. The courts in the USA, or at least in Monroe County, will continue your case like every week. They will keep on putting it off. We had 4 arraignments, which is a first appearance, 4 first appearances before we even got in front of a judge, which caused us to actually do a lot more time in jail than what we were sentenced in the end. For example, the public defenders. So public defenders are they are lawyers that are given to you by the courts if you can't afford your own paid lawyer. And there are some people in that jail who have been in there for 6, 8 months, sometimes a year, without even seeing their public defender because the public defender works for the court. So they're not there to help you. They're not there to get you out. They're there to keep you in, basically. The correction officers, even down to the correction officers in the jail, they will try and muster you up. And not all of them, because some of them were very, 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 very kind to me. But a lot of them will antagonise you to get you in further trouble and end you up with even more charges added onto your sentence. It's absolutely horrific, all for the sake of $300 a night. These people are ruining people's lives. They've ruined my round-the-world trip that I had with my friend. I've now had to come home. I had to spend all my money on a lawyer. I mean, luckily enough, I did have that money for travelling. I had the amazing help from my family, from my mother and my father especially, who worked round the clock to get this sorted, because it's absolutely horrific how they're treating people. My lawyer on a numerous occasion said apologised profusely for how his country treats people. He used to be a judge. He had to refrain from being a judge because he felt he wasn't able to be the person to judge people anymore. He had to fight for them because most of these people don't deserve to have anything remotely done to them. It's been absolutely horrific. And as I said, I've tried to keep as positive as I can about it, but I feel like if I can at least reach a few people, and it might, if you were able to share this, it might refrain and prevent it happening to another person. Even if it happens to one person, stops them from falling into the trap that is Key West, then at least I feel like I've been able to do something, because it's horrific. It really, really is. And, I'm it's not going to define me. I'm not going to allow it to dampen who I am. I'm going to be here, going to save up some money, I'm going to finish my trip off in January, and I'm not going to let this to define who I am. But I only had 2 months of some really, really awful shit, but there's some people in there that have been there for months, years almost, for no reason. And if I can just shed some light on it, I'm not saying it's probably going to change the law or change what happens down there, but at least it can stop people from falling into that trap. So please share this post. and hopefully, might stop it happening to someone else. Thank you.